Two guys of Minnesota sports flow.
Not that one. This one.
There we go. Let's leave all this in, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
All of its
The
imperfections.
SKOR North Twins Show.
A little bit of a balk, a pitch clock violation, which, by the way, Trev, did you notice that on Sunday? I don't know if you caught Sunday's Twins game, but Joe Ryan gets called for a pitch clock. And you talked about not showing up umpires. He gets called for a pitch clock, I swear to God. He looks, he goes down and looks at his own wrist. Joe Ryan does, as if he's looking at a watch. It was incredible.
He's something else,
incredible.
man. He's got a little sassiness to him. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Zesty. Yeah.
Hey, hit the like button, subscribe button here. Every Tuesday, Trevor Plouffe joins us here on the SKOR North Twins Show. He was on the most recent road trip, now back at home. And then, are you back for is it the Milwaukee series here?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
22nd, I think I go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you got some other games coming up, which
I think it's Milwaukee, then Seattle. I think that's what it is.
Okay, nice. Very nice. That'll be good. You can catch Trev on Twins TV. You can catch him here, too, as well. So, Trev, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. We got some injuries piling up now for the Twins. And this is where I feel like domino effect just happens. Once one starting pitcher goes down, and then everyone has to take a half step up and maybe more of a full step up. Now you lose Zebby Matthews, to an injury. Simeon Woods-Richardson back. He's going to start tonight to kick off the Rangers series. Your level of concern, I guess, in the starting rotation now that you've lost Pablo for probably the next three months or so, and now you have to dip into your reinforcements again with Zebby Matthews going on the shelf.
It's pretty concerning. Because the pitching staff was doing a great job of keeping the Twins in every single game. It's not like the offense, has been the one really supplying the wins. It's been the pitching staff, especially, losing Pablo, I think is the biggest miss here. Zebby was throwing great, but Pablo to me is a guy that needs to be around the rest of the rotation. I feel like I don't know if he's like the unquestioned leader of that staff, but he's definitely someone that everybody looks to, whether it is the relievers, whether it is the starters. Pablo is I want to call him like Pops on the team, he has that mentality a little bit. So I think that's going to be a miss. I don't know where he's going to do a lot of his rehab, if he's going to stay in Minnesota, if he's going to go down to Florida. I'm not really sure how they do that, but having him around the guys is, even you just want him in the clubhouse. I think that's going to be interesting. And as far as how they replace him on the field, we're going to have to see some things from our guy Festa and Sim, because there's been some good with them and there's been some bad with them. And now I think that you really can't look at that rotation and be like, okay, that's going to carry us anymore. Not yet, at least. Maybe they prove me wrong, and maybe we're sitting here saying, like, thank gosh we had all this organizational depth. I think it's pretty clear, at least right now, that we've taken a big hit.
Well, another option would be score more runs.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
100%.
right, and it's funny how baseball works that way. And Roy, let's jump into the Royce Lewis conversation too, because a week ago we're all sitting here like, man, that dude, he's batting ninth. He's getting pinch hit for at the end of games. He's talking about, this is like the darkest language he's ever used for just how he feels at the plate. And then he hangs out with Trevor Plouffe for a couple days, and he's been red hot. He's hitting like 450 over his last week and change. So how did you fix Royce Lewis?
I just, I didn't do anything. I just was there. No, you know what? It's confidence with him. And I think that he's always outwardly confident. Like, there's very few times. You mentioned some of the things he said to the media, which I think got misconstrued a little bit. Like the all hope is gone. He wasn't talking about himself necessarily. He was talking about, like, I'm done hoping these balls fall. Because he's hitting balls hard, whatever. I told
these guys a story. We had a similar but different lost in translation moment with Tsuyoshi Nishioka one time. We're coming into his second spring training, and he had the translator guy. I can't remember that guy's name, but he was awesome. And he said, somebody asked him about the upcoming season being a big one to just get back on track. And he said, if it doesn't go well for me, I'll have to throw it all away. And we all kind of went back to the press box at Hammond Stadium. And it's like, what did he mean by that? That's like super dark. Throw it all, like his career or like his life. Where's he at mentally with this? So Royce wasn't in that dark of a spot, it sounds like.
No, but I do think he was struggling with like true inner confidence. That's kind of like the take that I got. And, there were signs that he was going to start to break out. Again, he was hitting the ball hard. And I think, the Twins have been this in previous years. I think playing the A's and facing that pitching staff, you talk about teams that get guys going, get them hot. I think that was like a good time for him. Again, had some good at bats there and has carried it over. And you're right. I think the baseball is such the type of sport where you're going to have one area of the team carry, then the other team starts there. It's time for the offense to pick up the slack and do their thing, as this pitching staff obviously is not going to be as good as it was at the last couple 6 weeks. So yeah, Royce is obviously a huge part of that, but sometimes it takes just like weathering the storm and getting knocks to finally find that real confidence again. I think that's kind of what we're seeing with Royce.
I saw this. I don't know if it was Jake or if it was Jolly at Jomboy, Trev. I think though one of them was talking about Byron Buxton is maybe actually the best center fielder in the AL and probably should start the All-Star game. And Buck, who is having a great year, he had the concussion, which was obviously a scary situation for a dude that has had repeat concussions in his past. But right now, I mean, he continues to hit the ball really well. We know how slick he is with the glove. Do you feel that we are maybe tracking to Buck maybe being your starting center fielder in the All-Star game this year?
I think he's the most well-rounded center fielder in the game. I think what we're seeing a lot of times throughout the league, we're not, and maybe I just have like a weird memory of this, but I feel like center fielders used to be such more like centerpieces of teams in years past. And I don't think it's used as that anymore. I think it's really used as like a defense first position. And then they'll take whatever offense they can get. There's not a lot of bangers out there in center field. I mean,
yeah,
if you really look around the league. And so the fact that Buck can do everything, he goes and gets it in center field. He's one of the best defensive outfielders in the game. He can run the bases, and he also can hit for power. More specifically, hit for power. I'm trying to think. We did an all JM team, and we do that every month, and we go stats through that month. So for May, we gave him our nod in center field for the AL team. I'm trying to think who else was like really in consideration there. I don't think there's really anybody doing what he's doing in center field in the American League. And help me if I'm wrong. It's like Julio is there because he plays a great defense as well and runs the bases, but I think Buck's offensive numbers are better than him. Like Cedane Rafaela is not going to hit, but he's going to go out there and get the ball. So he's not necessarily like a well-rounded player. So yeah, I think Buck could very well find himself starting the AL All-Star game. Unless I'm missing somebody right now.
Can we put the A's dude in as the starter after that catch he made last night?
He hasn't hit at all. He strikes out almost every at bat. But
it's okay. He's been
awesome to watch.
It's this is his first like partial year in the big leagues, and so he's not. But he was like a third or a fourth round. He was like fairly highly drafted.
Yeah.
So he's not like a total random guy. But that catch, that is right up there with the Gary Matthews Jr. catch from like 20 years ago. I mean, Jim Edmonds diving.
Hey, we just did on the show I did today. We talked about your favorite catch. And mine was the Jim Edmonds in the old school Angels uniform because it was like I was 12 years old. It was like right peak fandom for me. So I noted that. Maybe not the best, clutch catch or anything, but like that catch to me was when I saw it at 12 years old, I couldn't believe what I saw.
It was the Willie Mays catch, but diving.
Full extension.
And not in a World Series game, right? So
yeah.
So
Willie, but he made that catch multiple times in his career. He did it with the Cardinals in the playoff game as well.
Yeah.
But that one, like the camera angle, the way he showed the ball afterwards, like everything, like
laying down.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone climbed up when Houston used to have, when it was Enron Field, and they used to have that weird mound. I feel like was it Jim Edmonds? Someone like climbed up that mound and made a diving catch.
I know what you're talking about. It
was him though. And by the way, on your point about center fielders, it used to be much more of a you'd put an offensive force who could kind of range enough, I think was the idea maybe 20 years ago. I just pulled up a random year of the 2006 crop of center fielders. It's crazy how offensive centric it was. So Steve Finley, toward the end of his career, was a great player for, I don't know, 15 years. Andrew Jones, Johnny Damon, Kenny Lofton, Corey Patterson had some years, Carlos Beltran, Torrey Hunter. You had Mike Cameron, who was a perennial 20, 25, 30 home run hit. Vernon Wells, Grady Sizemore, Curtis Granderson. It's wild.
Those guys
the
were hitting
offense of that.
homers.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. So Yankees, like Belly's playing there, and he's having a decent year. Tampa Bay kind of mixes and matches there. Meisner, a bunch of different guys. Toronto hasn't had Varsho there at all. Boston, I talked about Rafaela. And you just kind of go down the line. There's really not somebody that's even really close to Buck, if we're being honest, in the American League. As far as all-around player. Julio's the only one that you'd mention. And again, like he always starts off slow, and I think it's actually a good comp for Buck, those two. But Buck, I think, is just a better offensive player, or has been so far this season.
Yeah, I figured, they were going to have probably actually sent a couple pitchers to the All-Star game, when we were like kind of trying to figure out who would go and represent them. And at the time, I was thinking, Pablo might get some votes. Joe Ryan's having a good year. Duran's been pretty solid. But now I feel like if there were like odds or like a money line thing to bet on, it might be Byron Buxton as your leading favorite to go. They still might send a second person. I wouldn't be shocked that, a reserve goes. But I feel like Buck's probably your favorite right now to go to the All-Star game. Yeah,
it's cool for him, too. It's in Georgia. That'd be a lot of fun for him to go. Yeah, I mean, like, it sucks for the relievers of the world who aren't closers. They don't get the nod usually. Like Griffin Jack's, like, probably not going to get the nod because he doesn't have saves, which is, the All-Star game to me is a little bit of they need to figure that out. It doesn't make a ton of sense because you're playing in the middle of the season. So 2 good months means you're an All-Star. And then that aspect, like closers, when we have some of the best relievers aren't closers. But yeah, for the Twins, I would go Buck and probably Duran. That's probably who it's going to be, right?
Yeah, I think those are maybe Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
Probably Joe of the bunch. If Pablo obviously now is out, like maybe Joe if he continues this run.
Yeah, he's got to. I think he's got to go through June and have a really nice June.
To
make the team.
Yeah.
Our guy Cody Clemens cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, Cody,
just a little bit.
Let's get Cody Clemens.
Don't count him out. Don't let him get hot.
For scheduling, I got to leave in like 5 minutes here, and then you guys can talk as much nerdy Twin stuff as you want. But I did want to fire off this question to Coach Trev, because this is a big day for Jomboy. You guys, it was announced this morning that Major League Baseball is becoming a minority investor in your company. You jumped on board a few years ago with Jomboy, and we've kind of referred to it as like if someone doesn't know what Jomboy is, and like me and Dex have been fans of your guys' work for years, it's like for young baseball fans, this is the place to go consume fun baseball content. And I'm just wondering for you, like being part of that company, what does this mean? Major League Baseball jumping in. What from their end, are they looking to just connect with younger baseball fans? Feels like a big announcement today that our audience would be interested in.
Thank you. Yeah, no.
And congrats, dude.
I appreciate that. No, it's been a lot of fun to do it, and it really, I think that all we focus on at Jomboy is like establishing a community and then like serving them good content, and that's. As long as you stay true to that, I feel like you can't really go wrong. It's been, I think the most rewarding part of doing this is like going to the All-Star game and having our live event and like talking to people and man, I don't want to like toot our own horn, but the amount of times we've heard people say, "You got me back into baseball."
Yeah.
It's crazy. And that makes me feel really, really good. Cause I mean, essentially shit, man, I've dedicated my life to the game of baseball, and I'm very happy to do so because it's rewarded me very handsomely, and so I have a lot to be thankful for there. As far as like the relationship, and this has been in the works for so long. I think there's been at times a contentious relationship between Major League Baseball and us, and we didn't really know how to handle each other. We always wanted to get in with them, but I think they didn't really know what to do with us. And now I think that we're seeing around sports, these leagues kind of go to creators that have reach. I mean, essentially, all we do is put out baseball content on platforms that like people consume content on now, like YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, everything. Like we're on these, and so for Major League Baseball, I think they're looking to reach a new audience, and then for us, we're just looking for. We're going to have some more access. They don't have any editorial privilege over us, so we'll continue to be able to do what we want to do. But we'll have more of a presence at like the All-Star game and Home Run Derby and stuff like that. I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm happy for it. I think that we can do some good things together. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but I think it's nice to have the backing of them. We've again, like it hasn't always been some easy, smooth relationship, and that's fine. But I'm curious to see how it goes, man. I'm excited about it. But I don't know how it's going to work.
It feels like a good self-aware move by them too, because they've, if you look at like the average age of a baseball fan now compared to NBA and NFL, it's like there's like a decade difference. It's a lot of 58, 62-year-old white guys named Bob that watch baseball, and there's, like you said, you guys have kind of spent the last almost decade building this community, and for baseball to recognize, we got to do a better job connecting with 25, 30, 35-year-old fans, and we probably can't do it all ourselves. It just feels like a very smart, savvy, self-aware move by a league that can be criticized for not being those things at times over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I think that's why they view us as like a valuable partnership. It's not easy to grow a community. It's not, you can't just snap your fingers and have an online community. And you guys know as well, it's very difficult to gain traction. And luckily for us, I mean, Jimmy O'Brien, Jomboy, is a crazy talented content creator, and we have him at the helm. And we've been able to kind of take his breakdowns and then build out an entire community and company through it. So a lot of it goes to Jimmy. I mean, he's the rock star here, and I'm kind of just happy to be involved in it. But yeah, we're going to the All-Star game in Atlanta, and I think that's going to be the first time that I'm like, oh shit, like we're with Major League Baseball now.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Dex, before I throw it back to you, I'm going to shamelessly plug North American Banking Company here on the SKOR North Twins Show, a Minnesota-based banking company since 1998, and you can find them in 6 locations across the Twin Cities. And if you're looking for a better just checking and savings experience, they've got you covered. If you're working on something bigger, mortgage process, launching a business, whatever it may be, North American Banking Company is here, specializing in personal relationships, cutting-edge online tools. You can check them out and find out more information at nabankco.com/Mackey. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Dex?
Yeah, and also Grandpa's Barbecue. A shout out to Grandpa's Barbecue for all the dry rubs, all the sauces out there. It's grilling season, so go to grandpa'sbbq.com. Every Twin Show listener gets free shipping on orders $50 or more. Whether you're the dry rub guy, I'm a sauce guy. I lean more sauce. I can get down some dry rub, but I'm more of a saucy kind of dude. Give me some sauce.
I'm more of a dry rub guy, but would probably not turn down a wing in
both.
any form.
I'm both.
Both.
Give me the dry rub, and I'm going to dip it in some sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, dude.
Okay.
Wow. Power
Switch
play.
hitter. I have predominantly hit from the right side of the plate, and I don't know what to do if I'm on the other side. So so for me, it's all sauce. Go to Grandpa's Barbecue, sponsoring SKOR North Twin Show podcast. Phil,
Peace out, guys.
peace out here.
Congrats, Coach Trev. We'll see you next week,
Thank you
buddy.
very much, man.
See you, Dex.
We'll stick it here with Trev. I got some other questions here to ask him. Trev, so on Thursday, we did I think we had known the Pablo injury at this point, but I did 3 names to look at for the trade deadline.
Oh.
And I started with a couple here, and 2 that are rentals, one that I feel like is going to be completely on the forefront, and that's Ryan O'Hearn in Baltimore, who's just having an absurd year and a walk year. He's 31. I feel like Baltimore has to sell at this point. I'm actually not. I don't think Baltimore is going into a tailspin. I think they just kind of dropped missed the boat this year, and they could still pop back up next year if pitching works out. But another one was Josh Naylor, who spent a lot of time in Cleveland. He's having another solid year in Arizona. I know our guy Ty France is just money with runners in scoring position. But I think even we talked about the offense carrying its weight. And yes, we'll see what the Twins kind of make do with the starting pitching staff they have with their own reinforcements. I still feel like a bat is the thing they still probably need the most. And I'm not sure where you kind of fall on that, but those were a couple names that I at least threw out there.
I mean, obviously a bat like a Naylor or no Hearn helps. You put them in at first base or figure out, they can DH too. I'm more partial to like, and this is a big if everybody in the lineup starts carrying their weight, like I don't think you necessarily need a bat more than you might need a starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big if. If we're going to see, some of our guys continue to struggle, then yes, a bat would help. The only thing that gets me more on the pitching, I guess it is more recency stuff. Like, Zebby had started to look really, really good there. Mm-hmm. And we know what Pablo has been doing. And when that injury happened, I talked to Dallas Braden. He was just in the booth next to me, and he was like, man, it's a really tough injury to come back from. So he had the stance of like, maybe you're not going to see Pablo again this year. And if that's the case, because we're already talking how long, like basically until September.
Yeah, I would say like at the earliest September 1st, but probably more later. Yeah.
I'd look at the same teams and look at their pitching as well. Like Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly are all they're both free agents with Arizona. I guess I don't know if I'm looking at anybody with the Orioles in their rotation.
No, I think you're good there.
So it'll be more of those two guys. And for me, I always kind of lean. I'd rather have pitching than another bat because we have guys in that lineup that can turn things around. And I think adding a bat is more it changes the clubhouse more than adding a pitcher. So it'd be interesting to see how that would go. I don't think it's a bad idea, but if you ask me, hey, starting pitcher or bat, and you name those or Hearn, Naylor, or you got Gallen or Kelly, I think I'm going pitcher.
Yeah. I think and he's starting actually tonight against the Twins. He's old friend Tyler Mahle, who's having this insane year. Also in a walk here. He was
the Rangers have some guys too. Where are they? They're still out pretty far in the
dude. That unless I don't think they're not like completely in sell mode like a Baltimore, Colorado.
They're 4.5 games back of a wild card. They'd have to jump Boston, LA, Seattle, Kansas City, and Cleveland.
Yeah. But their offense, I mean, their pitching has been. They're kind of like they've turned into Seattle. Like they had this absurd pitching staff and their offense has just been dead.
Seattle's turned back into Seattle.
Yeah, yeah.
Turned back into it.
They did. So like, I mean, Tyler Mahle could be an option on the rental. They won't do this. I threw this out as a complete pipe dream. But man,
Sandy.
Well, Sandy's up there, but actually, I went with Jacob deGrom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Awesome.
Come on. They'll never do it.
That would be the equivalent of Correa came to the Twins. Nobody thought that was going to happen.
Exactly. He's owed a lot of money. I think that's where I have the trouble.
Yeah, does he have another 2 years or 1 year?
Yeah, he has like 2 more years at like $28 million. And they're paying Pablo what now, north of 20. Joe Ryan's going to be in line for an extension. Maybe even Ober could be in line for an extension. I don't know. Wait, I think even though Paddock's having this great run, I think you say goodbye to Paddock like at the end of the year. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think maybe
depends what he's asking for. I mean,
true.
Back end of the rotation starter, especially coming off a year like he's having, it's like at least $17 million.
Yeah.
Like that's like low end. So like I would say for Paddock, he'd probably get 17 to 20 somewhere.
Yeah. And we also don't factor in the fact that you talked about the offense. Like, what does this look like when Keyshaw comes back? Like Keyshaw's getting closer. I think that
there's
braces
a lot
off,
of guys. I think they have bats in the org, right?
Yeah, man.
The prospects.
Yeah. But even then, like and this does feel like if this with Pablo in it, it felt like, all right, if this is an offense that scores 4 runs, I think they're going to win their game, right? Like, because their pitching was so good, the bullpen lines up. I feel like it's sometimes a grind, and I'm with you on pitching. Like, I lean more. I'd rather have horses that try to win a 3-2 game than try to win a game 8-6. But man, I don't know. I don't know. I think you could upgrade offensively, but I love what Keyshaw brings. And then the disrupt, like if the vibes are good, like why would you then take away at bats from Ty France unless he just like completely stinks, you know?
Yeah, and there's just too many position players right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of worked out for them that, there have been guys on the shelf at certain points, but if every position player is healthy on the 40-man roster, you have some real deal decisions to make.
Yeah.
Keyshaw comes up and plays second base. Where does Brooks Lee play?
Right.
You bring in Josh Naylor. What does that mean? Yeah, for Ty France, is he relegated to the bench? Is he going to be strictly a guy that comes in against lefties and or with runners in scoring position and late in the game, something like that? Walker Jenkins is a guy. He's back playing. I know that name.
Yeah.
Where's he at? Double-A?
I think he's gonna go to Double-A. He's like he did the Complex League.
He's not going to be
low
there
A,
this year, right?
No.
Okay.
He will bake in the minors.
Rivera is there.
Rivera. Which one's Rivera?
Is that that's not the right name?
I was gonna say which was Rivera. I'll pull up the prospect list.
It's one of our top prospects.
We have Culpepper, who's in high A. He's killing it. He was their first round pick
Rodriguez?
last year. Oh, Emmanuel Rodriguez. So
Rodriguez.
He got hurt again. He's hurt again for like the ninth time. And I asked Falvey. I saw him just quickly on Friday, and I just asked like, how does a guy in like Culpepper, and again, just educate me on prospects, because you look at numbers and like this dude's hitting 310 in high A, no promotion. We're moving guys up and back. Like, what do we got to do here to get this guy to get up? And he said number one, he lets player development handle that. Like, even though he's the Pobo, he's not obviously he's not one facilitating. It's time to call up Kalen Culpepper. I'm making that decision right now. It's more of what is he doing, like process oriented to, get his preparation in, and then the results are the results. But
he's in high A right now.
Culpepper. He's in high A.
Okay.
But like if you were to be big buyers at the deadline, I think he's probably the first name that comes up from other teams, because he's a first round pick. He's now your fourth best prospect. So the three best prospects are Walker Jenkins, who I think is untouchable. Manuel Rodriguez is hurt, and then it's Luke Keyshaw, who's on the active roster, and they probably wouldn't get rid of him either. So Culpepper's then your next like best available prospect.
Do you know what I do? That's me push my chips in.
Like,
why not?
Yeah.
Like, we have a lot of position players right now. You have to deal from your position of depth, and right now in this organization, I feel like it's position players.
Yeah.
We already have that. A bunch of guys who are still 3-4 years away from free agency. Like, they're going to be there. Like, Royce Lewis is going to grow roots in this lineup. I guarantee it. Brooks Lee is going to grow roots in this lineup. Carlos Correa has 2 more years?
Like 3, yeah.
3 more years?
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of spots for everybody. So eventually you have to be able to draw from your depth and get something in an area of need. So look, these trades can end up looking bad. Sure. We all know the James Shields for Fernando Tatis Jr. move, but like, dude, what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Like that's going to happen at some points. You can point to a million different trades where the prospect return did nothing for the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's where you have to just live with the fact of, hey, maybe Kalen Culpepper turns into like a sweet baseball player. But if it helps you land, I don't think it would take certainly more than Culpepper to get like Jacob deGrom. But if that was a package that started with Culpepper and other guys in it, yeah, you got to live with that. That's kind of how this works. You can't have it both ways.
I hate to be back in my day, but I'm going to go back in my day here. Yep. 2010. I hope people remember that season. It was the opening of Target Field. We had this fucking stacked team, and we lose Joe Nathan in spring training. So we have no closer. So they dished out Wilson Ramos, big catching prospect, brought over Matt Capps. Matt Capps, we don't make the playoffs or are the same team without Matt Capps. We had John Roush closing games early on in the year. Matt Capps came in, solidified the back in the bullpen. Now you gave up a great player. Wilson Ramos, really good player. Could have used him after Joe went down behind the plate. But would Wilson Ramos really have changed the fortunes of the team later on in the career? Probably not. Right. He'd been a good player, but you won a division, got to the playoffs because of Matt Capps. So it's sometimes you can do good deals where both sides kind of it doesn't always have to be some lopsided deal. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and trying to fleece if this isn't MLB The Show where you're turning on fun GM modes where you're just trading for Jacob deGrom for your 15th organizational prospect. It's not as simple as that.
I'm that kind of guy in fantasy football. I'm like, hey, let me throw in these 3 guys for your one guy.
You're that guy. You're the guy trying to fleece a couple dudes
Yes, I am.
looking for RB2.
If you ask enough, they finally say, okay, fuck it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Coach Trev, appreciate you, man, here. This is a little trade deadline talk. Awesome news with Jomboy. And then, yeah, we'll be talking at you next Tuesday. And then you're in the Twin Cities the weekend after this one for that Milwaukee series.
We'll be hanging out. I'm just looking at Royce Lewis's last 7-day stats.
Yeah, man. He's
Pretty
looking
good.
He's looking good. I had a conversation with Brooks Lee just quickly here. I talked about Brooks to Rocco on Friday and then Brooks after the game on Sunday. And Rocco said it was about the adjustments he's making like day to day compared to last year that are just night and day different. And Brooks Lee kind of said a similar thing of, well, number one, he's healthier. Like that back injury, I think last year really put him in a tough spot. And then this year missed a little bit of time, but now is healthy. And it just, to our point about position players filling things up, like Royce is starting to hit. Brooks Lee's on a 10-game hitting streak right now. It's good to see some of these younger guys finally make those proper adjustments.
Brooks Lee isn't going absolutely nowhere. Like he is a bona fide big leaguer, and if you can't tell that, then I don't know what to tell you. Like he's the real deal. He'll be there for the next 5 years in that lineup.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yeah, we'll figure out who to trade next week maybe on the SKOR North Twins Show, or who we're trading for.
Let's trade Judd.
Trading Judd.
You know what? I gave his take about not throwing guys out, or was that Phil's take?
Not throwing
He said other sports don't do that.
Oh yes, yeah. I think it was Phil. I
gave that take on Talking Baseball. So you know what? I love the take.
Yeah,
we want guys in the game. Like a yellow card, you get a strike on your next at bat, or a ball if you're a pitcher, whatever it is. And people have been crushing me on the internet.
Classic.
I need to go under all of the social media posts. This was Phil Mackey's idea. Please go yell at him, not me.
As much as we love our game of baseball, man, it's so hard to like propose changes even that you think are rational, that are just normal
I even
changes.
put the freaking warning track take out where they need to be uniform, which would seem to me like everyone should be on board with that. Not changing the dimensions of the field. We're not changing anything except just making it safer for outfielders to go make spectacular catches.
Yeah.
And people are mad at me. They're like, some guy said, why is everyone trying to make baseball like basketball? Like, what does that even mean, dude?
I'm for that extra base on first. I am for that.
Yeah, I think so too. But people, man, they're so afraid of change. Like, we don't have to change everything, but there are some things that just make sense.
Yep, exactly. So as the MLB and Jomboy partnership start, we'll eventually just have MLB ran by Jomboy Media.
Yeah.
We'll just eventually get there.
Oh, you don't want that.
Love it. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show. That's Trevor Plouffe. He'll be back with us next Tuesday. More extra innings episodes also this week. We'll be talking at you guys later this week.